I'm Jody Sanders with American Patchwork and Quilting, and today's video is being brought to you by Baby Lock and the Crescendo machine. Have you ever done a quilt as you go project? And what that means is that you're putting the rows together in the top of your quilt, and you're also quilting it at the same time. If you've never done one of those, we've got a great project to show you today. It's called Pineapple Chunks, and I'm going to show you how to do the quilt as you go method. So in the Pineapple Chunks pattern, what you're doing is you're making flying geese units, and you see in front of me here, we've made the rows that we need for that pattern. So we have 7 rows that have 3 flying geese each, and then the 2 end rows don't have those pieces on the corner, and that's what gives you that nice rounded edge. So then the next thing you do is you take your backing, which is this piece of yellow here, and the right side goes toward the table. Then you're going to lay your batting on top of that and just smooth it out so it's nice and smooth. Then we're going to find the center point. You can use your 6 by 24 inch ruler, and we're going to mark a line. So we're going to take these 2 middle rows, and you'll notice one, the flying geese are going that way, and one it's going this way. We're going to place them right sides together, and then I'm going to go ahead and move them. Now you'll notice that there's some extra on both sides, and that's okay. We've done that on purpose. It's been designed that way so that you have a little extra room. So we're going to lay down 1 flying geese row, and then we've got the second one. We're going to lay that down on top of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of pins at the start and at the end. I'm going to kind of match up those flying geese corners, and I just want to make sure that it's stabilized through all of the layers. So I'm going to be pinning through the top flying geese row, the bottom flying geese row, also the batting and the backing. So you'll see the pin back here, because you want to make sure that all of those layers are secure together. Then what I'm going to do is just smooth it out a little bit, and I'm going to put another pin toward the bottom, and again we're lining up along this purple straight line, and I'm going to put another pin again through all 4 layers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew that first seam through all of the layers. So we've come over to the sewing machine, and I've got my layered pieces. I have switched out the regular foot for what's called a walking foot, and that's the attachment that you see here. The walking foot allows several layers to go through the machine at the same time very evenly. So if you have a walking foot, it's a good idea to go ahead and switch out your regular sewing machine foot for this walking foot. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start sewing down that line. And again, you can go as slow or as fast as you need to. You control the speed. So you can go as quickly or as slowly as you need to. When you get to those junctures where you've got the flying geese units all together, you've got multiple layers there, so slow down. Take your time over those humps. If you need to, you can even hand crank your machine at that point and just slow down, take your time, and then we're going to go all the way down to the end. Again, I'm at another point here where I've got my pieces, multiple junctions of fabric there, so we'll go ahead and continue sewing all the way down. Now we've taken the first 2 rows that we've sewn together, and we took them to the ironing board and pressed them open. And you can see how nicely they're laying flat. The one thing I should say, the batting that we're using is 100% cotton, so we won't worry about any of the fibers melting. If you've got a batting that's got polyester in it, you need to take considerations for that by either having a pressing cloth or maybe finger pressing your seams open if they aren't too long. But I'm going to flip it to the back here so you can see where we've got that sewn line. So we've already quilted these first 2 rows to the backing and the batting. So I'm going to take one more row and show you how we put it together. So I'm going to grab this row And that's going to go right there. So I'm going to put right sides together. And in your pressing instructions, if you're pressing these flying geese, you do have, as I mentioned earlier, a little bit of bulk there. If you press one row this way towards you and the other row away from you, what will happen when you put those together is that those seams will nest nicely together and the bulk won't be quite as bad. So that's another trick as you're putting these rows together, is if you can, do your pressing so that your seams are nested. So we've added a third row, and you'll just continuing add the remaining rows on this side, and then you'll go back and do the remaining rows on this side. You'll go ahead and trim the corners and bind it, and that's all there is to it. Quilt As You Go is a really great way to get these kinds of projects finished really quickly.